It's Pi Day, and one of the popular animations is this original video. I think this is the original source that shows that pi is irrational. So I'm not going to play the whole thing. I'll link it down below. But it shows this double pendulum kind of motion. It's not a pendulum because it moves at constant speed. And it shows that it never overlaps itself. So let's just talk about why real quick. And then I want to talk about how do you make this in Web VPython. Okay, so let's just talk really quickly about what's going on here. So here's our double circle thing. It's not a pendulum, like I said, double circle thing. So this inner mass is rotating with some constant speed, and the outer one is rotating with a speed, an angular speed pi times that. Now, they often show this equation to show that it's irrational because it looks cool. To be honest, it looks cool. E to the I, they put theta, but I'm putting omega t, and e to the I pi omega t is some function. Now, if you plot that in the complex plane, then you get these circles, right? Because of the Euler equation, e to the I theta is cosine theta plus I sine theta. So this is the real and imaginary component. But we can just do this in the xy plane. That's what we're going to do, xy plane. Is this camera moving? No, okay. So just think for a second, and we'll do this, right? If this is pi times that, and that's just rotating with some constant angular frequency, in order to line back up, then there would have to be an even ratio between pi and 1. It's 1 right there. So this is going to, let's say this is rotating at 1 loop per second, and that's pi loops per second. Or 2, let's say it was 2 times per second, right? That's 2 times per second. It would go around, and after 2 seconds, it would be right back where it was, and then it would trace back over itself. But since pi is irrational, it never lines up. Maybe not the best explanation, but we can model it in Python. So there's a bunch of little things to do here. The first thing is, let's just start off with how do we represent this double motion. So I'm going to use a vector. I'll call this vector R1 for the location of that one, and R2, actually this is going to be R2 for the location of that one. But I actually want to write this as R2. So that's the vector R2. Then the location of that mass, we'll call this mass 1, M1, M2. So M1 is going to be equal to R1. M2 is going to be equal to R1 plus R2. Now, I can define that angle as omega t. So this is going to be equal to, as a vector, let's say the radius is 1. So this is just going to be the vector cosine omega t, sine omega t, 0. Now, for this one, it's going to be equal to R1, which is that, plus cosine, let's call it x omega t. No, let's call this a omega t, sine a omega t, 0. Where a could be any number, right? We could do 3, we could do 4, we could do pi, and we will. So if that's the case and I pick a value for omega, all I need to do is to recalculate the position and move it around. And you could do this 2 ways. You could do this with a 3D animation, which would be cool, but I'm going to make it as an animated graph. So let's just jump into it and start working on the Python stuff and see how far we can get. And I might make a mistake, and that's fine. Mistakes are fine. So I have a Python program started off right here. The first thing I'm going to do is to make an animated graph. So I need a graph. I'm going to call it G1. It's a graph. I'm not going to give it titles. I'm just going to give it a width. Width equals 400 by 400. Height is 400. And that's in pixels. The other thing I want to do is I don't want it to zoom in and out. So I'm going to set the minimum and maximum values for that. And if you look at, if I have these are both of 1 length, then the maximum in the x direction would be 2. But I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. I'm going to go from negative 2.2 to 2.2. So we're going to say x max equals 2.2, x min equals negative 2.2. And then do the same thing for y. Y max equals 2.2, ymin equals negative 2.2. So that just makes the axis of the function. Now I need to make a graph. So let's make a graph for just the inner one. I'm just going to do the inner ball first. I'll call that F1, and it's going to be of a type G-curve, color equals color.blue, and then dot equals true. So as I animate this and move it around, it's going to show the location of that dot. Next, I need omega. Let's just put that at 1. I need t of 0. I want a very, very small time interval between when I draw my stuff, right? Because I want to make sure it doesn't overlap. So I'm going to say dt is 0.001. We can change that later. Okay, we're all set. While t is less than, let's run it for 10 seconds. Rate 1,000. Actually, I'm going to turn this up to rate 2,000. So rate tells me how many calculations to do per second. So a rate of 2,000 says don't do more than 2,000 per second, but with a time step of 0.001, this would take 5 seconds to run minimum. It can take more if the calculations are crazy. I'm going to calculate the value of R1. R1 is vector, like I said before, cosine omega times t, sine omega times t, 0. Now I'm going to plot that point in the graph. So f1 dot plot the x value, which is r1 dot x, the y value r1 dot y, and that's that. Now increase time, t equals t plus dt. Let's run it. Okay, so it is indeed an object moving in a circle. We don't have the stick. I'm going to add that in a little bit. Let's go ahead and add mass 2, and then I'll add the sticks. So mass 2, I'm going to need, I don't really need anything except another graph. So F2 equals G-curve, color is color dot red. Just to make it look better, you can change the color, dot equals true. So dot equals true makes that dot appear there. Down here, I'm just going to say R2 is equal to R1 plus, let's go up here and say A equals 3. So this is going to be vector cosine of A times omega times t, sine of A times omega times t, 0. And then I'm going to plot that, F2 dot plot, R2 dot x, R2 dot y. I said R2 is the vector from the point. No, that's from the origin. So R2 is the actual location. Okay, so we should get the double thing moving now, and it should make a pattern without the sticks. See? That's pretty cool. Now notice that I used A equals 3, so it should get back to where it was before, and you can see that it will indeed do that. Let's run it for a little bit longer. Let's run this for 20 seconds. Not 1 divided by 20. Not 120, 20. So it makes that loop, it makes a bottom loop, and then it just keeps going back over the same thing. Okay, so that's an easy one with 3 times the angular speed. But it's still pretty cool. Now, do you want to add the sticks? You don't have to, right? But I want to, because that's what the animation had. Now, how do you add the stick? What I'm going to do is to make a graph, another graph going from this line to that point. So it's going to have 2 points, 0 and there. And then I'm going to animate that graph. So let's just do the inner stick, and then we can do the outer stick, because just to make sure we know what we're doing. Now, an animated graph, what you do is you actually make a list of the data values and then plot it all at once, and then delete the data values. So that will make, I can move that curve around, and that will be great. So down here at the beginning of the loop, let's call this I need a new graph. So let's call this FB1 for bar 1, and it's going to be a G curve, and let's just leave it as black. Okay, but you can make whatever color you want. You can change the thickness and stuff too, but I'm just going to leave it like that. So down here, I need to make a data list for my values, and I want it to be empty. So FB1 dot data, no, F1 data equals an empty list. Now down here, when I plot this stuff, I want to add my 2 points to the list. And the 2 points are going to be the point 0, 0 and the point r1x, r1y. So let's just do that in one fell swoop. fb1 data equals a list of data points. And the first one's going to be 0, 0. And the second one's going to be r1.x, r1.y. And then once I have that list, I'm going to plot my whole line. And I can do that with fb1.data equals fb1 data. Right? So up here at the beginning of the loop, I delete that line. That does right there. I make all the data points for my line, and then I plot that line. And then I delete it again. So when you delete things and redraw it, delete, redraw, it looks animated. I think this should work. Here we go. I mean, that's kind of amazing that that worked out so easily, and it turns out really nice. Now let's add the second one. Okay, so fb2 equals g-curve. Color equals color. No, I'm just going to leave it black. And then down here, I'm just going to do the same thing. fb2 data is an empty list. And then down here, I want to add a list, fb2 data as not 0, 0, right? Because this stick's going to go from r1 to r2. So the initial position is going to be r1.x, r1.y. The second position is going to be r2.x, r2.y. And then I'm going to plot it. fb2.data equals fb2 data. So this dot data, that's how you make an animated graph, right? I have to have a list of data values, and you can call it whatever you want. But when you call that list, that object fb1, it's a graph object, and I say fb1 data, it just plots the whole thing. Whereas the other graph plots at 1 point per time interval. Here we go. I mean, that looks nice, right? Okay, now let's just try putting in pi, and then we'll be done. So let's put pi here for a. So remember, in web VPython, pi is already defined. You don't have to use numpy.pi or anything like that. So this is pi. And you'll notice it's very close to 3, so it almost lines up, but it doesn't line up. And we keep circling around forever and ever, and it will technically line up. Okay, and it will look close to be lined up, but it won't be lined up. The original animation, one thing they do is really nice. They zoom in and show that the values are different. I'm not sure how to do that, but let's do this. Let's run this for a longer time. Let's run this for 200 seconds. And I'm going to turn off the rate, because the rate doesn't matter. When you're doing numerical animations, if you don't put a rate and it traces things, things get bad. Okay, but this one doesn't care. It's just going to make the graph. So let's see for 200 seconds what it would look like. It does take some time, and there you go. So you'll notice that these lines are not lined up, because every time it's tracing over a new step. But that's still pretty cool. I like it a lot. You could turn off the dot for the inner one if you wanted to, but it just keeps going over the same circle. Okay, link to this code down below. Link to the original video down below. Pi Day. There is one other Pi Day thing that I do like to say. Pi Day, March 14th, 3/14, but that puts the month and then the day. Most of the rest of the world does, they do day, month, year, right? Because that makes more sense. And so that would be July 22nd, 7/22, because 7 divided by 22 divided by 7. No, it's 22, 7. 22 over 7 is a pretty good approximation for pi. But we'll do that. I'll maybe make another video about how to calculate the best fractional representation of pi, and that'll be another video. Talk to you later.